The station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, rise and grind, DMV. Happy Sunday. And boy, is it shaping out to be a lovely day out there with peaks of sunshine, but cooler temperatures. So we'll talk about that forecast coming up.
And the war between Israel and Hamas now been going on for over a week. Coming up, we'll tell you how the United States and world leaders are working to address a growing humanitarian crisis and what impending danger medics in Gaza say is looming. And on today's What's Going Around, we'll talk about the warning signs parents should look out for when it comes to sudden cardiac arrest in kids. Plus, tonight, it's the final game of the season for the Washington Spirit. We'll talk about how the team is celebrating with fans and trying to get Audi Field packed. That's all coming up on DC News Now. But at 8 o'clock, straight up right now, we begin with a live look outside over the Capitol, looking stunning as it seems the sun is coming up. But don't be deceived with that sun. It's a little chilly this morning, a little cooler than it's been at least yesterday. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on DC News Now. I'm Tosin Fakile. We'll get to our top stories in just a bit, but we begin with weather forecaster Brittany Ward. And Brittany, there's a chill in the air this morning.
Oh, yes. I don't know about you, but driving into work today, I put my heat on.
I did too, and I got my Uggs on too.
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit chilly out there, and we are going to keep that chill in the air as we head through your day today. Satellite and radar is showing you the overall picture. There's that low finally offshore, but now we're on the back side of it, and that's going to be ushering in some cooler air that we're going to be seeing as we head through your day today. Zooming into satellite and radar to show you the entire DMV, we had some light sprinkles early this morning make their way into portions of the district as well as northern Virginia. Those clouds now slowly beginning to roll out of the area, and that's going to be the trend as we head through your day today. Temperature-wise, still fairly cool in portions of the DMV, holding on to the mid-40s as you head further off to Kaiser and Cumberland. 51, though, is the current temperature here in the nation's capital. 54 there in Lexington Park. But if you think back to 24 hours ago, we are about a few degrees cooler today than we were yesterday, and we're going to be holding on to that cooler trend as we head through the first half of our work week. So let's talk about the wind chills. This is what it feels like when stepping out the door. Like I mentioned earlier, definitely a chill in the air. Even though temperatures are saying it is 40 degrees out there, it feels like 39 there in Luray. So definitely grab the jacket when stepping out of the door. Now we slowly begin to see a warm up as we head through your day today. By that 11 o'clock hour, temperatures finally reaching into the upper 50s. Highs today will be in the 60s, but again, that's below average for this time of year. So we'll have a check of that 7-day coming up.
All right, Brittany, thank you. It is 8:02, and we begin in the district. D.C. police investigating a carjacking in the 700 block of L Street Southeast. Police are looking for a 2017 Toyota Camry with Maryland tags. It was last seen heading westbound on L Street. Investigators believe the suspects are two juveniles. If you have any information on the vehicle or the incident, you're asked to call D.C. police. All right, coming up on 8:03, and as the war between Israel and Hamas enters day 8, the loss of life continues. The war has claimed at least 3,600 lives since October 7th surprise attack by Hamas, a Palestinian militant group that's been labeled a terrorist organization by top U.S. officials. Now, the U.S. State Department says 29 Americans are among those who have died since that war broke out. Meantime, it seems there is no end to the crisis in the Middle East, at least not yet, with 1 million people at the moment struggling in the northern Gaza Strip to evacuate after a warning from Israel ordering people to move south as Israel is preparing a ground incursion of Gaza. And meanwhile, hospitals in Gaza, they're filled with wounded people, and they're warning if supplies run out, thousands could die ahead of that planned Israeli ground offensive. Medics in Gaza sounding that warning as people struggle to find water and food. According to the United Nations, Gaza's hospitals are expected to run out of fuel for emergency generators within 2 days. And those are chants from hundreds of pro-Palestinian protesters who gathered outside the White House yesterday. Some were calling for an end to U.S. aid sent to Israel. Many Palestinian groups have long protested Israel's expansion in that region when it became a state. And the Associated Press reports that Secretary of State Antony Blinken made a trip to Saudi Arabia this weekend to find ways to help people trapped in the middle of that war. Blinken stepping up diplomatic outreach across the Middle East for international response to avoid an expansion of the Israel-Hamas war. President Biden spoke to Palestinian President and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to allow humanitarian aid to that region. Blinken also stopped at the UAE and spoke to his Chinese counterparts as well to address that growing humanitarian crisis. And this war is impacting many people around the world, including right here in the DMV. And now for more coverage of how people in our area are responding to the Israel-Hamas war, you can visit our website, dcnewsnow.com. We also have a list of ways to help relief efforts in Israel and Gaza. All right, it is 8:05, and back here in the DMV, Montgomery County Executive Mark Elrich is hosting several community meetings to get input on the fiscal year 2025 operating budget. The next meeting that residents of Montgomery County can go to is tomorrow. The county is in the early stages of putting together that fiscal year 25 operating budget. Tomorrow's meeting will focus on schools and issues important to Parent-Teacher Association members. Now, it'll be at the Executive Office Building cafeteria on Monroe Street in Rockville. Meeting will be available in person and online. Now, if you missed tomorrow's meeting, just know that Elrich will hold budget conversations through December, several of them on different topics and also in different languages. Well, Metrobus is announcing plans for overnight service to start later this year. WMATA plans to provide 24/7 service on 13 bus lines in December. Right now, buses run every 30 minutes after 9 p.m. before service ends at 2 in the morning. Under the new plan, service would run every 20 minutes after 9 p.m. The changes will start December 17th. You can find a list of specific routes that would be impacted on our website, dcnewsnow.com. And while they roll out overnight service, Metro is also looking into a new security strategy, which includes increased transit police presence on certain bus lines, more officers on midnight shifts, and more overnight bus checks. Metro is still waiting for board approval to amend its 2024 budget. And just a reminder, open enrollment to sign up for the Affordable Health Insurance in the DMV will begin November 1st. You can visit the online marketplace to shop for prices and to compare health insurance plans. Medical, vision, and dental plans will be available. Special enrollment periods are available if you have a qualifying life event like turning 26 or being newly married. Enrollment will continue through January of next year. 8:07, and according to the American Heart Association, sudden cardiac arrest is a leading cause of death of young athletes in the United States. DC News Now anchor Chris Flanagan spoke with a PG County pediatrician about warning signs parents should look out for when it comes to their children. That's the conversation in this week's What's Going Around.
Dr. Hancock, what is cardiac arrest, and is it different from a heart attack?
Chris, those are excellent questions. So a heart attack is when there's blockage of blood flow through the coronary blood vessels. Those are the arteries that give blood directly to the heart muscle. When there's a blockage, tissue dies, and then we end up having what's called a heart attack, where the muscle just starts to die, heart can't function. That can lead to sudden cardiac arrest, but having a heart attack isn't a requirement for sudden cardiac arrest. Sudden cardiac arrest is simply an abnormal electrical impulse in the heart that affects the heart's ability to beat.
You might see a young, healthy athlete appears to be healthy who suffers from sudden cardiac arrest. What are some warning signs?
The first is looking at personal history, right? Does this student athlete have a history of significant exertion when they exercise outside of their norm? Have they ever felt lightheaded or passed out on the field? Have they ever felt like their heart was beating abnormally, fast, or with an abnormal rhythm? All of those are important. The second is family history, knowing whether or not there's a family member who died suddenly and no one knew the reason why, or if a family member had heart disease at an early age, earlier than the age of 55, and clearly if it's known to have a family history of an abnormal heart rhythm. All of those are critically important. And then the third component is actually coming in to see your healthcare provider and undergoing that cardiac evaluation.
Dr. Hancock, how much of an increase in sudden cardiac arrest are we seeing that perhaps is tied to COVID-19?
The link between COVID-19 and sudden cardiac arrest is real. We know that with COVID-19, it inflames heart muscle, leading to things like myocarditis. When you have inflammation of the heart muscle, which is what myocarditis means, that can impact the electrical impulse that's sent through the heart muscle to keep it beating strong and keeping ourselves healthy, right? We do know, based on evidence from the American Heart Association, from cardiology organizations, that there is a direct link between COVID-19 and increased risk of sudden cardiac arrest. We have not yet been able to quantify the percentages or the link in terms of risk, but we do know that there is an elevated risk simply because of the impact that COVID-19 has on the heart.
Dr. Hancock, terrific information as always. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And thousands of Walgreens pharmacy staff walked out last week. That is according to the Washington Post. They say poor working conditions are putting employees and patients at risk. That walkout started Monday, and it's unclear if it's affecting pharmacy operations. To help with the issue, some drugstores have added employees during busy hours, but experts say that many pharmacies, particularly the big chains, still don't have enough workers. This comes despite offering increased pay and signing bonuses. Pharmacists say customers can help things run more smoothly by bringing their insurance cards with them, making appointments for vaccines, and calling days in advance for a prescription refill. And a nationwide shortage of athletic trainers is impacting schools in our region. Officials say 25% of Maryland schools lack trainers, with PG County having no trainers. 23% of Virginia schools and 44% of DC schools have no athletic trainers. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, students at schools with full-time trainers face a lower risk of injury.
I'm not really too concerned because myself, I always make sure that my son's trained outside of the organization that he's with.
I mean, it's a pretty serious situation when you don't have somebody that can come on the field if a player gets injured.
Now, PG County uses EMTs to handle game-related injuries. They are trained to treat those injuries, but not help athletes rehabilitate. All public schools in Montgomery County have a full-time trainer. Well, the D.C. intersection, formerly known as Dave Thomas Circle, finally has a new name. The future site will be called Mamie Peanut Johnson Plaza. The NOMA Business Improvement District shared renderings with the public. Johnson was a longtime D.C. resident and the first woman to pitch in the Negro Baseball Leagues. More than 4,300 votes were cast. Johnson's namesake received 40% of the total vote. All right, well, Halloween is around the corner. If you're looking for a pet to dress up with on Halloween, the Montgomery County Animal Services and Adoption Center wants to help you do that while also clearing its shelters. It's waiving adoption fees for dogs over 40 pounds and over starting today to October 31st. Now, adoptions are made by appointment only. The shelter is in Deerwood.